is easy.
What is up, GOAT World? It is me, your boy JDZ, and I am back at you again with another GOAT Format video. Today, I got him in the building. Today, I have your newest GOAT Format champion. Today, I have none other than Picatron, a duelist that you may or may not know. You probably don't know him. He's newer to the scene, but he came on and he's making an absolute splash, and he won the latest GOAT Format championship, the European edition. And I just realized that this duelist is actually based in America. So we got another one back to back. Picatron, welcome to the program. How are you feeling? Congratulations again on your mega GOAT Format championship win. Real quick, tell the GOAT World about yourself and take a victory lap real quick. How'd you get into the GOAT World and everything? How's it feel to be a champion?
Oh, hello. It feels, I'd say, decent being a champion. I was actually waiting to see when that would come up in my little, the Discord thing and the GOAT Format thing, when it would be all like champion. I really liked the little crown I got in the War League room. That was real nice.
I'm sure it'll happen soon enough, but how did that feel coming into this tournament, man? There are a lot of great players out here who've played this game for a really long time who haven't quite made it to this stage yet. You're kind of newer to the scene, and you burst on making a splash, and now you got this title of GFC champion. So talk to us about you and your experience. How long you been playing GOAT Format, and how long you been on the tournament circuit?
I've been playing GOAT Format for about 2.5 years. I only started playing actually competitively last December when I discovered Ivan Rosito's duel reviews, which are almost entirely the reason I'm as competitive as I currently am. Besides that, ACP's videos have also helped with that, but it's Ivan's videos that have had a huge impact upon my technical ability. Even if his reviews are usually Chaos Turbo, it's applicable to most decks.
Okay.
And since he's a judge, he knows a lot of rulings, and it's also just good to learn of things you can take advantage of, like the token summoned with the Ojama trio, how you can flip them to attack mode in your turn, or if they're somehow in attack mode because of final attack orders, you destroy the final attack orders, you can flip them back to defense mode. Very good to know that stuff.
Those small niche interactions, man, that's all it takes. I mean, that's the difference sometimes. You gotta find your advantages when you can. So you found those videos, and then you got into the competitive circuit, and now you found yourself in the position as a GFC champion. So talk to us about your tournament experience, and what was that like showing up to this event? It was an earlier event. You're an American-based duelist. What was that whole experience like?
It was fine for me. I feel that if you're healthy, this kind of stuff should be able to just happen. These long tournaments, I don't actually like feel the effect on my body because I feel I just take care of myself properly. Like I know people have eye or wrist problems. I have this little thing. You can use it on your wrist. That helps for that. If you have a proper keyboard, you can just get a mouse that it's the kind that you hold like that, or this kind of keyboard where it has a little trackball here and it's held like a remote.
Look at that, dude.
In order to keep your hand like this and not like that, so you don't get that carpal tunnel problem, and you make sure to blink whenever you need to. That's a big problem. I've seen players that you've shown. They'll just have this eye staring contest with the camera, and they're never gonna win. They're gonna feel that. That's why they have to the eye drops and stuff are it's such a huge business thing, and it's because people just don't blink. You can also do stuff like this that helps you, because it's like you're just moving your eyes instead of just always like that. That stuff helps me.
That's it.
I've never actually felt like, oh my gosh. The only thing in my first tournament, my butt was hurting because I didn't know that it was going to be that long that I was sitting. That was ridiculous. Dude, back in January, the 6 hours that I was in the tournament, I did not expect anything like that.
Hey, you got to have that. I think that's an interesting point, man. A lot of people don't talk about the endurance required and the physical fitness that goes. This is a sport, okay? This is a sport. You got to be hydrated, and you got to be motivated, and you got to be dedicated to come out to be a GFC champion. You know, that's the difference maker. That's the difference maker. But enough of that. Let's talk about this deck, though. Oh my goodness. So here is the deck that you just elected to bring to this tournament today. You elected to run Chaos Warriors for the GFC European Championship, and it is a very, very cool strategy. A lot of players, a lot of mainstay duelists really don't believe in this deck. They think it has an identity issue. They think it's kind of too half in the pan and it's just not dedicated to one or the other, and it causes a lot of consistency stuff. But I think you kind of addressed a lot of that stuff. So talk to me about your history with this deck and why did you elect to bring this deck to this tournament, and how did it work out for you?
Well, before I became competitive, I would play on the ladder, usually just Reasoning Gate Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of all of the duels I've had were just that. And I don't know exactly when, but I ended up finding some YouTube video that showed like some Cold Wave Monarchs thing. And I started doing some more deck building and all of that. And I would usually start having these same cards in my deck. It would be the Tomato, the Mystic Swordsman level 2, maybe the Reaper, stuff like that. And I would always try to have these cards in my deck, but I just didn't have the knowledge or skill to properly make a cohesive strategy until I saw the Nanos deck list in the video series you posted of the money match between him and AJT BLS. And it heavily inspired my list because I was able to put in things that he had already solved with his deck building skills into mine. And I did keep my own stuff. My original list, I actually sent it to him on Discord. I don't remember when, sometime before he was banned, but I remember he said he liked my list, and mine originally didn't have Raigeki breaks in the main. It had 2 Raigeki breaks in the side, if I remember correctly. Or actually, it was Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. That's what I had instead. I was on that card due to ACP really influencing a lot of my thinking, but that's the one thing I can't agree with in this deck specifically. I can see why it's good in other decks, but not in this one, where you might need it to defend the Mystic Swordsman. You might need it to help out troublesome monsters like a giant rat, that a lot of my cards are, I want to destroy them in the battle phase. And Wing Blast is just going to keep returning the rat, eventually. So Raigeki Break is what I now am using. I started using it at some point after I saw the Nicey videos where he went in depth into the Chaos Turbo theory and talked about the Raigeki Break and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast in different matchups, and I agreed with his thinking. And ever since then, I've been running 3 to help with the burn matchup or slower deck.
Okay, but I also see that you are playing a heavy warrior package, but you're not playing the trap card Solemn Judgment, which has proven itself to be incredibly popular and incredibly powerful. And as you mentioned in those Nicey videos, he spoke highly about Solemn Judgment as well. Talk to us about your lack of Solemn Judgment and why you elected not to use that card in your main deck or side deck for this tournament.
In this kind of deck, I didn't like it. I actually originally tried it, and it did not work out at all. And then I tried it again in the side after the Nicey videos talked about it, and I still was having a lot of problems. So I just went back to how I was originally with my jars, dust shoots, and basically just using my, you can tell when like opponents are going to be aggressive or if they're just kind of turtling up. They don't have like too much stuff that they can attack you with. That's what I use in order to gauge how I should play with my monsters, rather than relying on Solemn Judgment to kind of just get me out of a situation that maybe I shouldn't have even been in to begin with, simply because I think life points are very important. You'll notice I don't have upstarts in my deck. I'm not going to give away an extra turn to my opponent. I like the jars because of how just the GOAT format is. A duel can last much longer than a modern duel. And that's why I think upstart isn't necessary in every deck. I think jars are probably fine in most scenarios, especially if you have the Rotas, which I think can just replace the jars. You'll see other Chaos Turbo decks with, say, 3 jar, 2 upstart, but instead I just have the 2 Rota, which I think is probably even better in most scenarios, since they could draw into something like a dead Dust Shoot or a Thunder Dragon that maybe they needed something, a body to put on the field that turn, and they just aren't going to get it. But Rota will ensure it without giving the opponent an extra 1,000 life points.
Okay. But under that same logic, I see you're playing Card Destruction What is the purpose
Yes.
of that? And I see you really got the Thunder Dragons as your discards. Maybe you're using that to set up your graveyard. Talk to us about card destruction because that card can be very volatile in the turbo matchup, which you're going to be facing very often. Talk to us about the inclusion of that card in this deck and how that performed for you in this tournament.
Well, one of the best uses of it is actually in the aggro deck matchup where they aren't going to set monsters or have big card amounts of cards in their hand. I can just hard D my three dust shoots, my two knocks, my Mystic Swordsman level 2, sometimes the Don Zalug, all of that away into the graveyard. They may not be too useful in the duel. And then I can draw. Who knows? I might draw Torrential, Ring, Mirror Force, the
Mm.
Reaper, the Sanguine, the Tomato, instead of the just cards that are just going to be dead in my hand. And against Chaos Turbo, I actually think it's also good, but it's just more situational. Like if I don't have a way to deal with a Magician of Faith that's going to get back Pot of Greed or something, I can just attack into it and then card destruction the Pot of Greed away.
Mm.
Or if I dust shoot them and I see that they have chaos monsters in their hand, maybe the dust shoot is suboptimal for me, but I'm just gonna take out those monsters from their hand. And usually, if they're just left with like one chaos monster, and then all I have to worry about are some Dekoichis, Breaker, and Tribe, I'm probably going to win. So I think the card destruction is a little bit better in this deck rather than in Chaos Turbo Mirrors, where they have the same cards,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have access to something like two Kaikus usually, or a premature burial, which can bring back something that I card destruction away. That's actually another reason why I have so many one-ofs in this deck. The premature burial can help make it like I have two-ofs with a lot of these monsters. It also has nice synergy with the Abyss Soldier in the side deck.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, so since we're kind of
along with
jumping into the side deck, we can go ahead and throw it over to that side deck because I think it is very interesting. You got some really cool cards in there, mainly like the Abyss Soldier you talked about. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more in detail with the Nudori as well and the DD Woylade. I think DD Woylade could almost be placed into the main deck because it is so good in this strategy. But talk to us about this side deck and why did you put it together this way and how did this side deck perform for you in this tournament?
the Abyss Soldier was originally in the main deck. When
Mm.
I entered the Goat Grinder, I built a deck the night before, and I like the idea of the Abyss Soldier with the Tomato and the Sanguine, because if you think about it, a one of Abyss Soldier, you'll see Sanguine and Sinister Serpent twice as likely as the Abyss Soldier. So you're more likely to just always have Serpent than Abyss. But I tried that for so long, ever since the Goat Grinder until just around last week. And the Abyss Soldier just was not doing it because I had replaced the Kaiku, the second Kaiku in the main for the Abyss Soldier. And Kaiku by itself is good in a lot of matchups, usually against defensive decks that need to rely on stuff like Sinister Serpent or Magician of Faith or Chaos Monsters, or excuse me, not the Magician of Faith, but just Chaos Monsters or Lights in their graveyard to help those Chaos Monsters or other plays. While Abyss Soldier, it also helps in those defensive matchups, but because I do run into things that just it's not that good against, like Earth Aggro, if I have it instead of a Kaiku, it actually can be good. But the rest of my deck will not be good with the Abyss Soldier in that matchup. You'll see me side in the Abyss for aggro matchups, but I just found that it requires other things that my main deck just doesn't have. Like the Sakuretsu armors will help draw out those duels in case I need to draw the Sinister Serpent. But if I have him in the main deck and I'm facing an Earth aggro deck where I've got just a bunch of big monsters attacking me, it doesn't matter if I have the Abyss and the Sinister Serpent next turn, if I can't make it to the next turn. That's why the Kaiku is just better, in my opinion, overall
Mm-hmm.
in most situations with the main deck cards.
Okay, I like that. I like that logic. I like that logic a lot. But notice you don't have anything for control. But you're going to. Oh, you guys got the lightning vortex. You got the Sakura. You got a lot of stuff. You got the dust tornadoes. But you have these spell cancelers in there. I love to see the spell cancelers making their way into the side deck, man. Just trying to have some answers to the reason negate stuff. Were you able to deploy those at all? Did they ever come up? Did you match up with any reason negate players? And were they effective in your testing or in this tournament?
I faced Nasty Beast 96 B6 and
Hmm.
B96. He had Reasoning Gate, but I never needed them.
Okay.
I had this whole Kaiku, I think Reaper or Don Zalug thing on the field, and he just could not win.
Mm.
The matchup was, I didn't expect it to be that easy. Usually it's not. I'm guessing he bricked really hard. I don't think I actually saw the replay of that, but even if he didn't brick, I don't think Reasoning Gate is going to beat this deck most of the time. The Nudoria, the Tomato, the Card D to make it easy to see those spell cancelers, along with the Raigeki breaks, make it very difficult for that deck to just get through all of these things and still win.
I like this deck a lot. I like the size. So is there anything people will always ask, is there anything that you would change in this deck? The whole 55 cards, is there any card you would cut to make this better? Any improvements you would make to this deck?
If someone isn't expecting first turn kill decks like Library, the Empty Jar stuff, or the Reasoning Gate, you can swap out the two spell cancelers for a Tomato. Then it kind of just depends on personal preference. You could have even a third Kaiku if you really wanted to. In the Chaos Turbo matchup, you could swap it out for a Tomato if they don't bring in Zombiras or other aggro monsters. And then whatever else you would really want. Maybe if you want that Solemn Judgment, you could put that as a one of. I actually tried using this deck without the Nudoria, and Catburn, the Cyberstein decks, not the Reasoning, talking like the Mr. Big Noodle Zombie Stein decks. This helps a lot against them. I had actually tried a while ago the whole Scapegoat package, like the Ice Phoenix list, and I found it bricked too much. It actually came up in our duel as well, our second match. The one that I had won, he won the first one. I was just drawing into cards that would have had an impact earlier than his cards did, so he wasn't able to just get anything going really, which also came in to effect in the final duel of the tournament, where my opponent was playing Chaos Control. I could tell that his deck wasn't functioning like he would have wanted it to, but it's also to be expected in my experience with that matchup. Yeah, when it comes to the side decking patterns, it really depends on the opponent, but I would suggest actually trying out Dueling Book solo mode and then siding how you think you should for the matchup that you're going against. That's what I did before my matches in the tournament. And just doing test hands over and over again, seeing how those look, and drawing maybe one or two cards to see what you would draw into. It also helps if you just try to do ratio math stuff. You have, say, a 1 in 40 chance of drawing this card, stuff like that. And against some players, for instance, like Ivan Rosito, who can play around Dust Shoot very well, you could take out two dust shoots and put in, or excuse me, take out two dust shoots and put in two dust tornadoes. That way, the one of dust shoot, if you see it in the beginning of the duel, it might come in handy. Or if you see it later in the duel when he might not be playing around it or he can't play around it, it could come in handy then. But those dust tornadoes are most likely going to come in handy at any point.
The turbo player may be bringing in Sakuretsu armor, so Dust Runner actually could have some hidden value there too. I don't think it's the worst card.
Yeah, it depends on the player. They'll bring in Sakuretsu armors and or this whole Scapegoat package, and the Dust Tornado helps against both of them.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends, though. Sometimes they don't care. They'll just side in a few Zombiras, and they'll keep in their Night Assailants and their card destruction. They'll try to go for the ceiling of the deck, and Dust Tornado is still fine in that matchup, but it's not as impactful as a Dust Shoot would be. And in that case, you would just want to keep that in.
Mm. Okay. And you can watch some of the replays in between your rounds. You can kind of see what their patterns are and what they're doing, and maybe you can kind of take some of that information with you. Anything else you want to add about the main deck or the side deck before we hop into this replay? Because we have a replay available from this tournament, and we're going to kind of do a breakdown of how this deck works and some of the highs and some of the lows as you played it in that tournament right now, so people can kind of check that out.
I don't think the other 7 lists in the top 8 actually had just kept walks out of their deck like I did. And that's because my deck wasn't designed to use walk. So if I put a walk in the side, I actually consider that as worsening my deck. I might as well put in cards that'll help in those long matchups, like a third Raigeki break or a lightning vortex, which will help just go through those duels faster rather than actually thinking I should be going into time and putting this card that is just not going to help me in the duel, but it'll help in a time scenario, which I never even got to begin with.
Right.
I think that is something a lot of people should consider when doing their deck building. if you think you're going to go into time, maybe just take out the upstarts, the delinquent duo, anything that is going to lower your life points or give your opponent life points, instead of just putting walk in your side and then putting those in and hoping you see them in time. You might never see them. And your opponent might have taken their cards out, their upstarts or their duos. And if you didn't, and you were relying on walk, you could just lose.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? But walk, I mean, you can walk some stuff in time and get a time kill too. A cheeky or versus burn is pretty decent. But I see what you're saying. You really don't have a lot of walkable items, and if you're walking your mons, you're probably putting yourself in a worse spot most of the time. So I can agree with that logic a lot. Okay. I like the deck. But as always, duelists, you at home, tell me what you think about this deck. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and get down into the comment section. Give a congratulations over to Picatron and let him know what you think about the deck changes you would make. And also get into the Discord and reach out to him there. He will be a GFC champion and Worlds qualified. All right, but Picatron, are you ready to hop into this GOAT format dueling replay? We have a replay from this tournament, and we're going to break it down together to see how this deck performs, and you guys have an idea of how some of this thought processes went through as the champ was on his run to the top. Are you ready to do this, champ? All right, so here we are at the replay. So this is from round 4 of Swiss. At this point in the tournament, what is your record?
I had won the first 4. I lost 5, won 6, lost 7. So both of my losses were to the first 2 ranked people, Alephia and Ice Phoenix.
So you were XO at this point in the duel though. All right, so you go out, throw RPS, he goes first, and you are vibing. Hands looking terrible. This is a horrible hand. This is not how you want to start.
You'll notice what I said to him too. That's me actually telling him I'm going to duel like my best in this duel, because I'm expecting him to be a very good opponent.
And he is. If you guys don't know, Ghost Rider is probably one of the best players that we have in the format. He's a very strong duelist. And coming up against Ghost Rider, I'm assuming he's undefeated at this point too. So this is like playing for a serious position. Winning this round 4, staying undefeated going into round 5 is extremely important. All right, so Ghost comes out. He's going to go ahead and slam the Jar Slam, the Solemn Slam, the Night Ass. We're going to set it up. A lot of Turbo players have not been setting their Night Assailants. Ghost Rider is going to be on the forefront. Turbo play. He's going to put that bad boy down. So you're double Thunder Dragon dueling, which is just miserable, okay? And you got Jar of Greed, you got Miss Tomato, and you got Don Zalug with the Ninja Grandmaster. All right, so the play here, obviously going to set Jar, and let's see what you do next, though. We're going to kick the Thunder.
What do you think? What do you think I should do?
I think
besides Jar?
I think you should go. I think you should go Jar, and maybe I'm a swinging. I'm a swinging kind of guy. Either Tomato or Ninja Grand is getting in there. I don't set. I attack.
I choose not to summon anything.
Yeah.
I actually expect that to be a Sangan, a Serpent, or it could be a Spire, a Dekoichi, or even a Magician of Faith, but I don't think that's likely. But if it happens to be Night Assailant, I don't like the idea of just wasting Don or Sasuke or Mystic Tomato on that. I want to see if he'll flip this monster and tell me what it is. But if he doesn't flip it, that's also telling me what it isn't.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good idea. He sets another, he doesn't flip. So when he doesn't flip, that gives Night Assailant, that gives Sangan vibes or Serpent vibes, and you're going to draw. But also, you kick the Thunder Dragon. That lets him know that you have the 2 in hand, but you get kind of bailed out with his Graceful Charity. That's great. So Graceful Charity, you're going to jar into the Sork, and you jam it, and he hits you with the Solemn Judgment right away. I know Ghost Rider's theory, he's like, if you're going to play Trend and you're going to get maximum value from it, I'm going to negate it if I can, and you're going to be sitting here holding those Thunder Dragons and a bunch of Mons. And then you set up the Don Zalug. This is also quite interesting. Talk about that one.
Yeah, I thought the first monster he set was more likely to just be some kind of bluff. I know Night Assailant could be it, but it's still the same odds. 2 Night Assailants, a Serpent, and a Sangan. It's a 50-50 chance. And if he happens to have a Dekoichi like he did, he might feel like getting aggressive or spy and attack my set monster. This was actually still a little risky. He could have knocked it, and that would have sucked.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the right thing to do, given the situation. And I actually agree with him setting the Night Assailant turn 1. Too many people try to get greedy with its second effect, but its Man-Eater bug effect is much, much better than people give it credit for.
I agree.
That card, I think, has excellent synergy with the Chaos Turbo deck.
And he's going all in here. He's slamming in with the Koichi, slamming in with the Thunder Dragon, slamming in with the Chaos Sorcerer, and your back is against the wall. You draw another monster. So you don't even play that many monsters, but you're just getting them all in the most wild order. So I guess the play, you got Chaos here. So you might have to slam that, or you might have to crash this Mr. Tomato. Let's see what you do here.
Yes.
Okay, I like this play, and we're going to go for the Sangan, and then we're going to go for the Sork. Sork banish Sork. Sangan's out in attack position, and we're chilling. But he had graceful, so that is rough. As you're going to now deal with 3. We're kicking 2, Thunder Dragon Serp. Obvious kicks. We got Snatch here, banish your Sangan, and your back is up against the wall yet again. And we're going to go double. This game is over as we're just too much aggression, too much energy. And he drew another monster too. Good grief. So talk about that emotion, man. How do you manage your emotions in these types of situations? Because you opened bad. You really didn't get a chance to. You didn't feel bad? You felt nothing. No. How do you feel? You felt no tilt, no nothing.
I don't know how to put it. It's like, okay, now I just have to win both in a row. That's what I have to do. Like, it's like if you're thirsty, you go drink water. Like, you just have to do it.
That's
it.
Like,
that's the thing to do. I don't think, oh, no, I'm thirsty. I think I'm going to drink water. That's how I think.
That's what's up. Stay hydrated. Stay thirsty, my friends. All right. So we're going to go ahead and set up the ring, set up the Dust Tornado, summon Sangan. Okay. Pass. Really selling TT. I like that. I like a little TT for sale as we go Breaker. He's not buying it. Ring up the Breaker. Cool stuff. Anything he sets, I'm snapping this Dust Tornado in the end phase. Do you hold? No, he's going to snap. You're going to pop the Saku, which is good. I think that's a solid hit. And then we got that pesky Thunder Dragon again, and we're going to go ahead and send the Don in first. This is cool. I like this. Guys, look at that bottomless trap hole. I hate this card. Oh my goodness, bottomless trap hole looking really bad right there. That bottomless is looking really bad.
It is a risky card. I can understand why people play it because of its high impact, but it wouldn't be my first choice. I would prefer to have 3 Sakuretsu armors, maybe even a 4th battle trap like Widespread Ruin before the bottomless.
And Don is just that perfect 14, getting under there, getting a rip in, and Sangan gets in clean for 1,000. I know Ghost hates the warrior strategy, hates aggressive decks, so I'm pretty sure he's got max Sakuretsu armors in there. There's probably some Widespread Ruins in here too. I'd have to look up his deck list to see what exactly the configuration is, but I know he probably has all that stuff in there. We got Kinetic too, so now you're going to get absolutely blasted here as he brings out Kinetic, smacks into the Dawn. That's a huge bit of damage, and then you get the Graceful Charity again. So do you respect Solemn Judgment here at all?
Best thing in my opinion is to summon the Thunder Dragon. It has a dual effect that I'll be able to search the Sinister Serpent and threaten his monster at the same time in case his back row is some kind of reactive card. And it actually is, allowing me to just use the Graceful without having to worry about Solemn.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And then you get the TT down and you pass back on over. They get their own TT and we're going to summon into it. So we take a little bit of a exchange there, a little 1-for-1 basically as you get the Sinister Serpent back. You don't hate that. You'll take that deal.
The life points is what made me have to do that. I didn't want to get too low. Ghost Rider can be aggressive. That's why he uses those Solemn Judgments successfully and why so many players with the same deck will disagree on different cards. It's just play styles.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the more aggressive players, Solemn will work for them, and that's why they'll find success with that card, while others, maybe they're not as aggressive. They won't have the same success, so they'll just cut it and think that the other players are bad for playing it. But it's just a playstyle thing.
Talk about lead Blade Knight here instead of lead Kaiku trying to get into that GY. You're not worried about it? Just trying to.
I don't think the Blade Knight is going through. Yeah. That's why I didn't summon the Kaiku. I think it's too important in this match compared to the Blade Knight. I already have a knock. If he summons some kind of troublesome monster, I have the Tribe. I think the Tribe and the Kaiku are more important. And if he can't actually beat the Blade Knight, I could just keep it on the field and threaten all of his set monsters.
Very true.
And make him maybe waste some other cards that he wouldn't want to just to get rid of it. Maybe he'd have a Raigeki break where he'd be forced to do some kind of discard of a useful card, and then I can just knock him.
I like that.
Main phase 2.
We send BLS here, which is very cool because it might force that TT. I like that play a lot. That was a really good play. That's a really good play. I think because maybe he doesn't even TT his Kaiku. He might TT the Kaiku on its own, and then you got follow up there. But he's for sure going to play a card on this.
He's forced to. That's the issue.
He has no choice, and that's really cool. And then you come on in with the Sork, and then you can normal summon the Kaiku, and the game just comes to a screeching halt right there. All right, so it looks like we're going to a game 3. I think you played very well. You made some great plays there. Ghost did everything he could, but I mean, I think you had slightly better cards, but I really like the way you put him down, and it's going to work out that way a portion of the time. Bottom's Trap Hole showing that is just might not be it. Don's a Lug. The existence of Don. What the hell, man? Hold up. Let's pause here, man. Because you didn't really just open double Thunder Dragons both game 1 and game 3.
A lot of people say Thunder Dragon is like this overpowered card, which I think it is very good, but this is just one of its drawbacks to make it not some super perfect 3 of in every deck that if you don't play it, it would be crazy. This is just one of the costs of playing it. You
Yeah.
have this chance of opening 2 or 3. That's how I see it.
It's just a pain in the ass, man. Not in a game 3, not in an actual tournament, man. You're trying to become the GFC champion, open double Thunder multiple times, and you're getting duoed here, which is kind of bad.
Before the second discard, what would you discard in this scenario?
Man, the idea of bricking on that third Thunder Dragon is just too much to bear. But I probably, since we got the Sorkin BLS, I'm probably going to get that Dawn in the GY because he's probably not going to do much. And then I'll pitch that other Thunder and get the other one out. Because drawing third Thunder, unless it's off the top of the deck right here, I'd be so upset. But Light and Dark and then BLS, Regeki Break, I think it's really strong. And you're going to kick the Regeki Break. Very interesting.
3 cards in hand. The Raigeki Break has to go.
Yeah.
It's simply too much of a compromise from this position. I'm already fighting from behind with the 2 Thunder Dragons and the duo. And I just can't afford, in my opinion, to go minus on what could be a scenario where I could just top deck something better than the Raigeki Break.
As we're going to pop the Magician of Faith, which is a great hit, because that second duo, I don't think you can recover from that. And then we'll TD up for 1 and set the Dust Tornado vibe. And it's looking not terrible. I mean, never mind, it's looking pretty bad. This is looking pretty bad. You're gonna need something right to go your way. As we got the Upstart into the set Sakuretsu armor, and you're gonna end phase pop the other one here, which is that Regeki Break, and you send in the Don. He's getting Saku'd 100%, and then you'll set another Regeki Break. So I guess maybe that discard Regeki Break was good because you got into another one, which is pretty nice. And now you got that Night Ass again, Man Eater Bug style on the field, and you just need something good to go your way, and you're still not getting those breakthrough cards. As you could try to send this breaker in, it's probably not going to be long for this world though, and you go for it, and it will be rung up for 16. Does he have Light and Dark on yet?
Ring doing its
job. Breaker doing his job. Ring doing his job. Taking 16.
Ring doing its job.
And
it just saved him from going minus.
And then we got maybe he might even, so he goes for his own breaker here. Do you have something? No, you got the RB. Is it ever a time where you use it? Yeah, we're going to chain it, pop the breaker. Now he's got Light and Dark. He might just send his BLS after you because that's a clock, man.
He does.
He might, yeah. I don't think that's bad at all. I think send the BLS in and just say you better draw it. You better draw it. And let's see, Yugi jar free. Oh no.
Can I see his graveyard for a second?
Here it is.
Yeah, I went after the Raigeki Break with my my Dust Tornado because his first card. This is what I'm thinking. I wasn't paying attention now. Was a jar, so I had a feeling that his fresh set could have been a chainable, while his Raigeki Break set could have just been something like, a Battle Trap, something like that. And I wanted the Dawn to possibly go through. And that's why he didn't set a monster. He felt safe hiding behind something. I was hoping just that the new set was, not that important.
But now
because in these scenarios where you're behind, you just have to rely on good top decks, hoping your opponent stumbles a bit to try to even up bad starts.
Yeah, because in theory, if he's obviously a good player, so he's going to respect Torrential Tribute, because I think you already shown Torrential Tribute. But he could have brought down his Thunder Dragon and just ran in there for a win. He could just bypass all hope.
I don't think it's worth it. I have like a 1 in 30 chance. He doesn't know I have a jar, so I actually have a 1 in 6 or 1 in 15 chance. I draw, and then 1 in 29 chance of top decking Snatch. I think his position is very strong, and he doesn't need to overextend like that. He would just be left with a Sangan and a Thunder Dragon if he did that with no monster on the field.
Oh, look at that.
Had Reaver. Yes.
Look at this, dude. And he gets to it. I mean, it's odds. It's a card in your deck. It does exist. Oh.
Yes.
And this is it. And we're going to go for this jar as well to just kind of change up. And we're going to snatch the BLS, and Ghost Rider has to be furious, dude. He has to be losing it. Because you see those Thunder Dragons. No matter who you are, you'll see the Thunder Dragon. You'll be like, man, I could have won if I'd have just went for it. There's no way in his mind he's like thinking, I could have just went for it. But again, the math didn't line up. The numbers didn't add up. And now you got your own BLS, and he's drawing all these monsters. So it's downhill. Snatch is a good card. You got your own BLS. No way. No way, not like this. Are you double barrel BLSing? And he's doing it. Oh no, that's cool. Oh man, BLS. gonna rip both of these out of play, and Ghost has got to be tilted. So now he needs his own snatch steal. Tribe is huge. Wait a minute, we got a game. Holy smokes, what a game. And we're gonna go Tribe. Tribe pop both BLSs. And he's got GG, but you thought Sakuretsu Armor is going to be in versus the Turbo. Talk about your side decking patterns real quick again. Again, not too much, but you brought in Sakuretsu Armors. Is that basically to combat enemy Zombiras and Kaikus or kinetic soldiers, perhaps?
I know Ghost Rider can be an aggressive player.
Mm-hmm.
He could have brought in aggressive monsters and used it to try to attack my Kaikus and my Mystic Swordsmen. So I thought that would be good. The Dust Tornadoes would help against his Battle Traps and Solemn Judgments. I didn't expect him to have a lot of cards in hand, which I don't remember now in the earlier part of this duel, but he just had, what, 2 Thunder Dragons mostly in his hand most of the time. So I thought it was the correct decision. And in this kind of scenario, I feel like my deck will have more impactful top deck again compared to his.
Okay.
In the matchup.
And I got something to say. I got a bone to pick with you about this Reinforced Armor. Let's talk about this. Why do you pick this artwork? This is heinous. Okay, this is just a slight against humanity. Why are we playing this artwork of Reinforcements of the Army in this tournament? And what's the story behind this?
Because I like it.
That's terrible. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, man. But you're gonna play it all the same.
I brought it to. I want to say it was the PWCQ that I participated in last week as well. I like the card.
I mean, the classic Rhoda is the only Rhoda that should be played. This is just an affront to human society, dude. It's so bad. But to each their own. You're the champ, man. You can do whatever you want. But I got to tell you, as an onlooker, as an observer, this hurts everyone's soul when they see that card being played. Especially Ghost Rider is now staring down his Blade Knight, and he gets another great GK Spy. So maybe you can get another rip as you'll grab the Torrential Tribute, slam into the GK Spy again, and now you got this kind of game. You got a Blade Knight versus Spy situation as Ghost draws into third Spy. That's miserable. We'll set the TT, and that's not a bad TT. If you can get triple Spy off of there with this TT, you might take that trade as you get the Dust Tornado.
I think the third Spy was a good draw for him. In case I can somehow get rid of those 2 spies, maybe I would have to overextend to do so. He still has that 1 spy to defend his life points.
Yeah, it's not bad. And do you attack into it? You just elect not to go into it, probably for that same reason. You don't want to. You probably figure it's something that Blade can't get over since he said it in the face of Blade. And he says Sequoia in the face of Blade too, so maybe he thinks you're mixing up. Maybe he's trying to mix you up now as you get.
I didn't attack because I thought it could have been a Cypher Soldier.
Oh.
Was the issue.
Yeah, and now you got to respect it, because if you hit into a Cypher, you lose.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
The first one, I don't remember what my thinking was, but I had a good reason for attacking the first monster, but the second monster I was not going to attack, his second set.
Dang, so you got the Premature Burial, and this could be a BLS again. Let's see if we go for it, and we will play it. And BLS is back.
And since he didn't flip his second set monster, I had to, his third Spy, I had to banish the new set monster.
Okay, and now he gets to the Chaos Sorcerer, man. You guys are really going to town, and he can get that thing online too. Let's see if he goes for it. I think he might not have a choice. Let's see if he does it. And we will tribute set and then Sork, and you might have to jam the TT and pray.
Yeah.
Let's see it. As
he correctly puts it in attack position. I have Sasuke in the deck. He doesn't know. Maybe I could even have a Zambira in the deck. The deck lists aren't open yet. I think Ice Phoenix in his list actually main decks Zambira.
Yeah, and you get to the Heavy Storm. You got 600 life points. I think no matter what he's attacking, he gets to the Mirror Force. We got the Dust Tornado for that. We got your own Mirror Force. Get it down. He's got the Sakuretsu Armor. Get it down. We got the Kaiku. Now you're in the weird spot again. You can't go 2 for 1. You got to just try it. Yeah, send it in the 18. It gets Saku'd. Cool. You got the Serpent.
That was Heavy Storm, but it's not worth it.
Yeah. That could have been a game-winning Heavy Storm though. Potentially, his Snatch being gone and his Tribe being gone. I mean, it's gonna be hard to get through that bald-headed bead shaking menace. Maybe another Sakuretsu Armor can easily just come. But now this Serpent is really a clock too. Holy hell, man!
Mirror Force was just too important in my opinion. In this position, especially if he did somehow out the Kaiku with a Zambira, it would just be such a bad spot where I would have to top deck again.
And he's got the Solemn down. So now you're in the saddest part. This is the saddest point for a GOAT format duelist, bro. When you got a Mirror Force, a Serpent. That feels so horrible, but it is what it is. As Serpent is going to be... You got to do it.
Sometimes the play is to Mirror Force Sanguine, to Raigeki Break Sinister Serpent. You got to do it if you want to win.
It does feel bad though. And you got your own Reaper now, and then we got the Ring of Destruction, which is virtually useless at this point. Maybe he can't do anything unless he goes upstart, which I doubt he'll play. Then we'll go ahead and T set. We got RB, so he's gonna set it up. So he's got almost a game shot, and you get the Pot of Greed, which is a great draw. And you have to blast a Heavy Storm here just to get his back row out of the way, because he will for sure snap that Solemn on it, as we will RB, and then we got Pot of Greed, and now you got the even stronger Kaiku to Ghost Destroy. This is great as you get in with 18, and I think this Kaiku's got some really, really long legs. I don't think he's got many outs without the Snatch Steal. The Spies are gone. You got multiple Sakus in there. Mirror Force, I believe, is in there. It's rough. Multiple Regeki Breaks are in there. This Kaiku is a game breaker. You need Night Assailant, and you need him now. As you get 2, Trap Dust Shoot. Hate to see it. This is why I don't like it. Get it out. I get it out. Well, I guess you gotta keep it in, but man, oh man, that's miserable. You're looking at this card now.
This is what makes Trap Dust Shoot fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess. Oh man, it's so irritating as you said it. But now it looks like it can be a battle trap, and you might have to consider trying to summon another monster into this thing. And I don't think you should, and you don't.
The issue I had no real defense.
Yeah.
If he summoned any monster and attacked me, I would lose. My ring wouldn't be enough to get through his, I think he was at 3,600.
Yeah.
There's no monster I could ring for that. So the best thing I thought was to play around the Torrential. Kaiku will still win next turn if he does go through. But if he outs the Kaiku, I have the Ninja Grandmaster. And then depending on what I draw, I could have flipped it if it was a strong monster, but it wasn't. So I just kept it.
And that's going to be a GG, man. So, wow, what an incredible... That was very resilient, man. That was very resilient stuff. That was showing, like, you can't give up. You can't have a negative attitude. You got to stay positive. You got to stay focused. You got to keep drawing cards. There's always a chance in GOAT format. And I mentioned this a lot, too, in all of my streams and videos and stuff. There's always a chance. That's the beauty of this format. That's the beauty of this game. The cards in your deck are very powerful, and there's always a chance. So if you just keep playing and never give up, something can happen. And you just happen to do that. You play very well. Luck meets skill is going to always be a good thing. All right, so we're back at the deck, man. I like that replay. I like what you had to say about it. I thought it was really, really cool. And we're about to break this thing down and get on out. We're about to break this thing down and get on out of here, man. So I really, again, I want to say congratulations to you for winning this event. Again, becoming a GOAT format European champion. GOAT format champions are very in rare order these days, and you demonstrated your dueling prowess and ability. Is there anything else that you want to say? Any special shout outs you want to give before we wrap this thing up and get on out of here?
Yes, I want to thank you, Geis D, Ivan, AJT BLS, Apoptosis, and Nate Dogg for congratulating me on my victory. Those are the only ones I saw, but thank you. They actually do mean a lot. Very appreciated. Nice. And hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Yeah. Hi, Mom. Well, if you guys want to come out and take out the GFC champion, make sure you play in the next GOAT format dueling tournaments. We have PWCQs happening all the time. We have GOAT Grand Prix Seattle taking place next Saturday. Come on out and participate in that tournament if you like to play some IRL Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Okay, GFC champ, our newest champ. We are signing off. That's all I have, GOAT World. As always, I'm JDZ. I play GOATs. Until the next time, shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.